Hey, what's up, Congress Goose here, doing our State of the Union for Play Session 1. You can see from where we're starting, London is a thriving town of 5 population, currently building a settler. I will get to that, because obviously that was not in our London build priority, but I will get to that decision here in a second. I just noticed this. Check out this cool little hut over here on the mountain. Somebody said, screw this town. I'm living in the mountains. That's pretty cool. All right, let's scroll out. You can see Liverpool has been founded, and it is a population 3 city with some wheat being produced. It's definitely going to be a fast-growing city with all the wheat around it. Eventually, if we can get up here and get the sheep, it should grow pretty quick. And actually, if we just click in here, you can see we're doing both the wheats, which we're also getting a science out of. And we're doing the incense, mostly because of the 2 gold, but also the 1 faith, which helped us get to the point where we are needing to choose a pantheon. And that is why I stopped, because I did not think that was something I should do without you all. But really, now that we have that pantheon, I might recommend we go back to the jungle and get the 2 food and 2 production. Since we're producing 24 gold, losing these 2 and dropping down to 22 gold won't be that big of a deal until, or actually we're 3 turns away from growing, at which time we'll go and get the jungle. So things are going pretty good in Liverpool. If we scroll out a little bit, give you a little bit more of an update. This archer we sent up northwest and cleared out a barbarian encampment that was up here. An archer we built in London as our 3rd build priority in London after we successfully completed the granary and our first settler, which I'll also get to in a second. We built that archer, and then after that archer, our next was the monument, which we have successfully built. So let me just give you the city details real quick. You can see that we have the monument and we have the granary. Our next build priority would have been the watermill, which we do not have yet unlocked. We are 6 turns from getting the watermill, which will coincide nicely with producing this settler. So that's the current status in London. Liverpool, we have the granary. We are currently working on our 2nd build priority of a general expansion city, which is the monument. And you'll notice I settled a city because at the time we built this settler, I think I had done like, 8 turns or something. And so I didn't want to have a super short play session. So I hope you all agree with this location. It's on a new continent, which we know gives us a free unit. And so this is our free warrior right here. And coming down south of Stoke-upon-Trent, which I think we should vote on a new city, because a new city name, because that name sucks. This barbarian encampment popped up, so our other warrior was ranging around down here exploring. So I brought him back, and we're gonna flank this encampment and snuff it out, because you can see we have found Mount Kilimanjaro, a 1-tile impassable natural wonder. It appears as a mountain and provides +2 food to adjacent tiles. So look at all that food, as well as all this mercury and plenty of trees for production. Everything's great, right? 2 rivers. This is going to be a great city down here, maybe even 2 great cities. Wrong. No water. Literally no water to be had. It's not even really feasible to settle along the rivers. So still a really good city to be had, probably between this mountain and Mount Kilimanjaro, somewhere in here. But unfortunately, it won't be a city of water. So we'll definitely want to found this city somewhere next to a mountain. At first I was thinking on this side, but then you see all this production over here and it'd be hard to pass that up. So maybe we settle a city here, cut these trees down, and then we could build an aqueduct. Or we could settle here and we could build an aqueduct onto this river. We have a few options there, but we would definitely need to build an aqueduct because we would not have any housing. That's what water primarily affects. You can see freshwater, we get a +3 housing. That's what all of our cities have been up till now. Coastal water is only +1, but no water is 0. So it would be tougher, more difficult to grow a city down here, but tons of food. So the city, I shouldn't say to grow. The city's going to have plenty of food to grow. It just wouldn't have a lot of housing, so we would have to find a way around that. Other things we've discovered, we are north of the equator, as you can see by this band of rainforest here that Stoke-upon-Trent currently borders. We discovered that this, what originally I had at least thought, and I'm sure most of you did as well, was that this was ocean coastline. It is indeed a lake coastline, or an inland sea, I guess depending on how you look at the size of that. But we do have maybe a decent place to build a city over here as well. It's still on the Baltica continent, which is not our home continent, so we would get a free military unit if we settled over here. But again, it would be a coastal water. Right here is probably the one that makes the most sense. But the good thing about coming over here, one is we would stop people coming south from this side of the lake, but also we would be able to steal one or two of these citrus luxury resources from Jerusalem, as well as it being a pretty good city. Have some good growth potential and some decent production around there as well. Since these are forest instead of rainforest, we'd actually be able to build what do they call it? Let me look it up real quick. They call it a lumber mill, obviously, duh. So we could really get some good production out of that city. So that's another good option. So we have tons of good options for a city. We also need to choose on a pantheon. So we have a bunch of stuff to vote on. So it seemed like a good place to stop. So a few other things I think we can look at before we wrap up our State of the Union on turn 53 in the year 1920 BC is let's check out the stats. We are currently right in the middle of the pack in terms of score, but we're not far behind. And early on in the game, that's not too bad, because as you've probably heard me here, if you talked to me or you heard in one of the other videos, the computer cheats in every difficulty higher than Prince. They just do. They start with a couple military units and a settler, whereas we start with one military unit. That's it. So they definitely cheat early on, and that's a balancing thing, I suppose, but kind of BS in my opinion. Anyway, but you can see if we just take a glance, we're doing all right. The top civ has 18 technologies. We have 14. We have 8 civics, which is a little bit behind other civs, which is disappointing. But we'll pick that up once we start ramping up our culture for sure. But we also have 24 tiles in our civilization, which is just under the 25 at the top here. So we're doing fine. We'll definitely climb up, no problem. Overall, yeah. Let's see. Rome has a military strength of 99. Gandhi have military strength of 58. So we're at 91. So we're sitting okay in terms of military because we don't really... Oh, we also met the Norwegians way over here. So as I had my scout kind of ranging, our scout kind of ranging up into here, we met the Norwegians. They're neutral with us right now. So we have that. The other thing I did discover, you can barely see it right here. You can see a city outline of Rome. So we know Rome, I thought it was to the east, maybe actually to the northeast. So you can see this is the top of the map. India and Rome do not have a ton of room to play. Well, Rome probably does going this way. Maybe. Hard to say. But it looks like India, if they have room to go this way, it's up in the tundra. So they don't have a lot of room to grow. So they're definitely going to probably try to come and put something over here. And they're definitely going to try to come put something down here. So if we were to settle something along this northern coast of the sea, it may be risky. We're definitely opening ourselves up to both India and Rome. Whereas here we really have a good funnel point through these mountains. Liverpool has a great defensive posture with these mountains. We can put a military encampment right here, which would essentially stop them from getting through there until they destroyed that encampment, which the encampment would get a ranged attack per turn, and we would also garrison a ranged unit in there to pick people off as they're just coming through this death trap, really. So that's that. Let's check the demographics. This is an add-on that I use just because it's kind of cool. I like to look at stats. And so let's take a look. Our gross national product is tops in the game. That's really good. That means we're producing, we have good production. So we're building things quickly. And obviously that's a good thing. Our population is third. Not too bad for being this early in the game when the computer cheats. They're saying we have about 113,000 people in our civilization in 1920 BC. That seems really good and actually a little ridiculous maybe. Well, I don't know. 1920 BC. Yeah, that's just a really long time ago. But anyway, kind of a fun thing to look at. The Norwegians only have 21.68k, which actually sounds more reasonable. But anyway, soldiers, not a lot. We're fifth. Crop yield is pretty decent, but if we could get down to Mount Kilimanjaro, that would go way up. Land 270k. I'm not sure what the unit is on that. If they're saying that would be acres or hectacres, I have no idea. Anyway, or square kilometers, no idea. But 270k, where the tops is 300, so we're right there. And goods, which I think is, I don't know if that, I'll need to look at that. I'm not sure if that's only luxury resources or if that's bonus resources or just or what that is. But fourth rank, 22 versus 30. So we're doing pretty good. Things are looking good for us. If we look at the pantheons, a few things that we can obviously consider. +1 culture from pastures. We don't have a ton of pastures. One sheep here, one sheep here. So that doesn't really seem worth it. Let's see. Production. This is a short-term look, the +15 production towards ancient and classical era wonders. Very short-term, but sometimes worth it. This is where I think we might be getting into something. +1 culture from bananas, which we have a lot of. Citrus, which we could get a couple over here. Cotton we don't have. Dyes we don't have. Silk we have 1. Spices and sugar we don't have. So the bananas, we have 4 right here. Well, we wouldn't get this one. We have 3 right here. We could easily come down here, get a couple more here. We have some more citrus over here if we can get the first ones to get over to it. We have the silk here. Unfortunately, just that 1 silk. But we have options if we wanted to go that route. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Let's see, other options. City growth rate is 10% higher. That's a good one if we want to make sure we're growing. But we know that our food's not too bad right now, so it's an option. It's definitely worth voting on. Border expansion rate is 15% higher. I like that one as well because remember we're trying to get a ton of land in our empire so that we can hopefully have a higher percentage chance of getting a bunch of artifacts, because that's what we need to do, is we need to get a bunch of artifacts. So I think that's a really strong candidate for what we should do. Divine Spark is also a really good option. +1 great person points for depending on the district. So if we had a campus, we'd get 1 for a scientist. If we had a theater square, which is our cultural district, we'd get 1 for our writer. So I think that's a good option as well, because obviously we're going to need a lot of writers to increase our culture and make people envy our civilization. So those are the ones that I think I would recommend voting for. Obviously, you all could look them up and propose something else. But those are the ones that I think are worth it. So I'll put those up for a vote. Otherwise, that's pretty much the state of the union. We got 2 cities that are growing well. We just settled a 3rd city. We have another settler that'll be done in 6 turns. And we have a lot of options for our next city. So with that, this was the English Play Session 1. and I'm Goose signing off.